At this point, I'd like to introduce Dr. Sally Wenzel, who will deliver opening remarks. Dr. Wenzel completed her Doctor of Medicine degree at the University of Florida and spent many years at National Jewish Health, an accredited teaching affiliate of the University of Colorado School of Medicine, before moving to the University of Pittsburgh. She is director of the University of Pittsburgh Asthma and Environmental Lung Health Institute at University of Pittsburgh Medical Center and chair of the Department of Environmental and Occupational Health, School of Public Health at the University of Pittsburgh. Dr. Wenzel has been NIH funded for most of her career. She has focused on improving the understanding of asthma and its phenotypes. Dr. Wenzel has published over 300 papers, including in the New England Journal of Medicine and the journal Cell. She has received numerous achievement awards from the American Thoracic Society and the European Respiratory Society, including the Amberson Lectureship in 2021. In her role as chair of Environmental and Occupational Health, she has expanded her interests to the understanding of the role of air pollution and environmental racism locally and nationally to both clinical outcomes and biologic responses in asthmatic airways. She is broadly dedicated to improving the understanding of the environment and its impact on lung health. Dr. Wenzel?
Thank you very much, Deborah, for that very kind introduction. And yes, I am extremely delighted as chair of the Department of Environmental and Occupational Health and as part of the University of Pittsburgh School of Public Health. And we're now the School of Public Health because we're actually teaching undergraduates now as well. To once again welcome you to the 10th annual conference on unconventional natural gas drilling and public health, sponsored by the League of Women Voters and Heinz Foundation as part of the ongoing Straight Scoop on Shale initiative. And it's been wonderful. I've been introducing the conference now for 4 or 5 years to see the growth of the conference. And if there's one thing that COVID did enable us is to move this conference to a virtual experience where I think we can broaden our audience to a national and even international audience. As always, it's important, though, to start by taking this opportunity to thank the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this program for 10 annual years, and how appropriate it is, I think, to have this event 1 week after the election day of 2022. It's now more than ever important to remind everyone that the League of Women Voters plays a critical role in ensuring the integrity of our elections with their longstanding efforts to help monitor ballots and polling places, something they've been doing for nearly 100 years. We all know that their efforts last week were even more important with the emerging and increasing potential for erosion of voting rights and increasing opportunities for voter intimidation. Perhaps in part to their ongoing efforts and those of others, very few problems occurred. So thank you, League of Women Voters, from all of us. But getting back to the topic of the day, the League of Women Voters has also recognized the importance of many additional controversial topics over their history, not the least of which is, of course, the unconventional natural gas drilling industry and its link to both the economy and the health of Western Pennsylvania for many years. Certainly, some of these efforts began in areas that were very close to the original unconventional natural gas drilling in the Indiana chapter in Western Pennsylvania, but this was soon followed by our own Pittsburgh chapter. Certainly, shale and unconventional natural gas remains publicly controversial, yet this conference may be one of the last bastions of nonpartisan efforts in an area of such importance in the U.S. and specifically in Pennsylvania as of now. Suffice it to say, fracking is not going away in Pennsylvania anytime soon, with even more liberal voices recently offering public support for the industry that perhaps took some of us by surprise. Oil and gas prices are at some of their highest levels in years, which of course makes fracking all the more economically attractive. We do indeed live in a region where the balance of economic health of the population with that of the clinical human health has typically tipped towards that of the economic health of the population. Even in this political climate, it has become difficult to question how important this industry is to the economy. This economic focus and often the associated political climate has often limited the generation of actual data, which can begin to answer the questions of whether it is possible to develop unconventional natural gas safely, both locally and globally. In fact, we are still in the early days of this drilling, with much more evidence remaining to be collected and analyzed. We are hopeful that the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and its political caretakers will increasingly recognize the need to generate these data from well-done studies to allow its citizens to responsibly weigh in on its future. In fact, I'm happy to say that for the first time, the Pennsylvania Department of Health has tasked a Pennsylvania university to tackle the health effects of unconventional natural gas drilling or fracking in Western Pennsylvania. We at the University of Pittsburgh School of Public Health are excited to be part of that process, with results slated to be released and presented to the public in a transparent and in an open manner before the holidays. These results will likely be discussed here at a future meeting, and I will look forward to those discussions. Over the years, these Straight Scoop on Shale conferences have provided a venue for fundamental information on the unconventional natural gas drilling process, including the engineering, the geology that underlies the extraction process. Over the last 2 years, however, over the next 2 days, however, sessions will start with a 10-year perspective. Again, this conference has been going on for 10 years on both the process and the research, including presentation of new data. On Wednesday, presentations and discussions will move from research to policy, i.e. bringing research results to action, at least here in Western Pennsylvania, in a very purple state indeed. But obviously these research to policy discussions have implications wherever fracking is ongoing. Finally, the sessions will close with us hearing from a variety of community voices here in Western Pennsylvania and elsewhere. Clearly, unconventional natural gas drilling impacts many different regions around the globe. The results of these conferences have led to a tremendous accumulation already of invaluable information, much of which is available on the League of Women Voters website. This is largely built on their unshakable belief in the value of evidence-based research. While that concept should seem as American as apple pie, these very principles of evidence-based research and critical thinking continue to be under attack in our country. It is a fragile world that we live in, with citizens constantly trying to come to terms with what represents actual facts. Perhaps one of the greatest challenges of our times is teaching the ability to comb through reams of social media generated information and distill the few nuggets of truth as best we can define them. This conference, I believe, remains an attempt to override misinformation to promote science and reason. Thus, it remains essential that academic institutions like the University of Pittsburgh and the many other institutions that are part of presenting research over the next few days, and independent fact-based organizations like the League of Women Voters do all we can to uphold the values of science, facts, and evidence-based conclusions. This conference has grown dramatically over the last several years, and much of that has been due to the ability to provide a virtual meeting to a global audience. The presentations we will hear today will center on how far we have come over the last 10 years while directing us into the future. We are still at the cusp of investigations of a new and potential health hazard. The results of the elections around the country that took place last week could, in fact, impact both the unconventional natural gas drilling industry itself, but importantly, the funding of research to understand the short and long-term impact. Indisputable evidence may not yet exist one way or another regarding health, but short-term impact on economic indices is indeed clear. Thus, only accurate science-based perspective and retrospective collection of data will move us ahead, remembering both that the health and the long-term economic impact of this industry on the citizens of our region depends on these results. I look forward to 2 interesting and productive days of presentations, discussions, and moving forward together in our understanding. Our region recently experienced, as of today, the initiation of production at the cracker plant here in Beaver County. So I think we're taking unconventional natural gas drilling to perhaps the next level from the standpoint of the utilization of the natural gas that is being produced and the various carbon products that are generated to promote the production of massive amounts of plastics and all of the aspects of that industry that are now going to be on the table as well. So many more years of discussion, hopefully with an improved understanding of the impact of all of these industries on our region, both economically and from a health perspective. So I thank you once again. I thank the League of Women Voters. I thank the Heinz Foundation. I thank all the other people that have been involved in the production of this conference for their willingness to take on these challenging and controversial topics. Enjoy the rest of the next 2 days.